To mandate vaccines in the workplace or not. Now, this has been a raging debate in recent weeks as countries the world over continue to push for herd immunity. Anthony Lugg has our story.
The issue of mandatory vaccination in the workplace is shaping up to be a heated one. In the U.S. today, President Joe Biden directed the Labor Department to require all businesses with 100 or more employees to ensure their workers are either vaccinated or tested once a week. Here in Jamaica, some employers have been imposing mandatory vaccination on employees, and it's understood some workers are on edge. Granville Valentine is the General Secretary at the National Workers Union.
It is wrong in every sense. It's unethical in most. And surely it's a breach of contractual employment.
Unvaccinated workers have been given the option of presenting a negative COVID test weekly or monthly at their expense. But the NWAU believes the tactic is being used to frustrate workers.
When someone is asked to pay $8,000 to $25,000 for a COVID test on a weekly basis, how are they going to afford that? So in my humble view, they are actually forcing these workers unjustly, unfairly, and illegally out of the work.
We put the issue of mandatory vaccination in the workplace to Executive Director of the PSOJ, Imiga Breeze McNabb.
Our position remains. We want the employers to continue to use moral suasion, and we want the employees to actually get the facts, inform themselves about why it is important to be vaccinated and why it is safe to be vaccinated. As a private sector grouping, however, we want to have those conversations with the Ministry of Labour and Social Security so that we can come together with some agreement or some aligned position in how do we take this whole issue of vaccination mandate forward, because at some point in time, we do believe if moral suasion does not work and having access to the vaccine, that it will become a real issue that we will need a national position on.
But what does the law state? We spoke with Queen's Counsel Peter Champagne.
And to be provocative, the law doesn't say anything about it. The reality is that it has to be on a case-by-case basis, because one would have to take into account a number of factors to include the duty of an employer to provide a safe system in terms of a work environment, and that has to be factored in terms of the issue of vaccination.
He added that whether an employee runs the risk of infecting others will also play a role. But this particular issue is one that unions like the NWAU have been arguing is a form of discrimination against unvaccinated workers.
And the truth is that there has not been any case that has been tested in court to come down one way or another in relation to the point that you're making in relation to discrimination. But certainly there is fertile ground to argue that in terms of discrimination. But at the same time, based on the factors that I've alluded to, it would ultimately come down to a case-by-case basis.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness has said the government will not be imposing vaccine mandates at this time. However, the Attorney General has suggested that making the vaccination mandatory for healthcare workers is being considered. Anthony Lugg, TVJ News.